Prepare to rethink everything you thought you knew. This is Mind Benders, your source for the most mind-twisting facts that will expand your understanding of the world. Let's bend some minds.
Part 1. The Hook. Who decided to click on this video? Go on, think about it. The answer seems obvious, doesn't it? I did. You felt an impulse, a flicker of curiosity. You weighed the title against your interests, and your finger moved to the mouse or screen. You were the author of that action, the captain of your own ship. But what if I told you that was an illusion? A convenient story told to you, by you, to make sense of a world you don't actually control? What if the decision to watch this was made by an ancient, silent passenger in your skull? A passenger who made the choice seconds before you were even aware of it. This isn't science fiction. This is the cutting edge of neuroscience, and it presents us with the most unsettling of questions. If you aren't the one making your decisions, then who or what is? We believe we are the CEOs of our own lives, sitting in a plush corner office at our minds issuing commands. But the evidence today suggests we are more like press secretaries, hastily writing speeches to justify decisions that have already been made in the back rooms of the brain. Over the next 20 minutes, we will journey into that labyrinth. We'll meet the ghost in your machine, the hidden architect who shapes your reality, your memories, and your very sense of self. We will explore the strange cases of people with literally divided minds and uncover the biological machinery that writes the story of your life. The truth is that inside your head, there is a silent, powerful force that directs your actions without your permission. It's been running the show your entire life. And by the end of this documentary, you will never see yourself in the mirror the same way again. The question is not if your brain is in control. The question is, who are you? The first clues. To find our ghost, we must first understand the fundamental division in our minds. Think about the last time you drove a familiar route. Did you consciously think, now I will apply 15% pressure to the accelerator? Now I will check my left mirror? Now I will turn the wheel 30 degrees? Of course not. You were likely thinking about your dinner plans or a conversation you had at work. Yet, a complex series of actions was executed perfectly. So, who was driving? This is our first clue, the existence of two systems. The conscious mind, the one you're using to listen to my voice right now, is slow, deliberate, and has very limited capacity. It's the new guy at the office. But the subconscious, or the automatic mind, is a supercomputer. It's been processing billions of bits of data every second since you were born. It handles your breathing, your balance, your gut feelings, and yes, your driving. It's the veteran who built the company. For decades, this was a simple, comfortable model. The subconscious handled the boring stuff, and the conscious you handled the important decisions. But in the 1980s, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment that shattered that comfort forever. It was deceptively simple. He sat participants down, attached electrodes to their scalps to measure brain activity, and asked them to do one thing: flick their wrist whenever they felt the urge. They just had to note the precise moment on a clock when they decided to act. The results sent a shockwave through the worlds of neuroscience and philosophy. Libet discovered that a specific spike in brain activity, called the readiness potential, occurred a full half-second before the participant felt the conscious urge to move. Let that sink in. Your brain begins preparing for an action long before you have decided to perform it. The conscious decision was not the cause, it was an afterthought, a bulletin from a deeper, hidden government. This experiment suggested that free will, the very bedrock of our identity and legal system, might be a grand illusion, a trick of timing our brain plays on us. It was the first hard evidence that the press secretary, our conscious self, was simply reporting on a decision that had already been taken in the Oval Office of the subconscious. When the system breaks. Libet's experiment was controversial. A half-second difference in a simple action could be explained away. But to truly see the hidden ruler in our brain, we have to look at what happens when the mind is literally broken in two. Enter the split brain patients. In the mid-20th century, a drastic surgical procedure was developed to treat severe epilepsy. It involved severing the corpus callosum, effectively isolating the left and right hemispheres of the brain. The surgery was a success for treating seizures, but it created a fascinating and bizarre natural experiment. Each hemisphere was now operating on its own. Neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga performed a series of ingenious tests on these patients. In our brains, the left hemisphere typically controls language and speech. The right hemisphere is more visual and spatial, but largely mute. Furthermore, the left brain controls the right side of the body, and the right brain controls the left side. In one experiment, an image of a chicken claw was flashed to the patient's right visual field, which is processed by the language-dominant left brain. Simultaneously, a picture of a snowy winter scene was flashed to the left visual field, processed by the silent right brain. The patient was then asked to point to related images from a selection in front of them. The result was astonishing. The patient's right hand, controlled by the left brain, correctly pointed to a chicken. The patient's left hand, controlled by the right brain, correctly pointed to a snow shovel. So far, so good. But then Gazzaniga asked the crucial question: why did you point to the shovel? Remember, the speaking left hemisphere only saw the chicken claw. It had no idea why the left hand pointed to a shovel. Did it say, "I don't know"? No. Instantly, and without hesitation, the patient replied, "Oh, that's simple. The chicken claw goes with the chicken, and you need a shovel to clean out the chicken shed." The left brain literally invented a plausible story, a complete fabrication to make sense of an action it did not initiate. It was a press secretary, seeing an action taken by a hidden department and immediately creating a rational press release to explain it away. This wasn't a guess. It was a confident, immediate, and utterly false rationalization. We were witnessing the birth of a lie, not to deceive others, but to deceive the self. The brain's desperate, automatic need to create a coherent story, even when none exists. If you find the secret workings of the mind as fascinating as we do, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on for more deep dives into the mysteries of our world.
Part 4. The Architect of Reality. So, a hidden part of our brain initiates actions, and another part claims responsibility by creating a story. This is a profound insight. But the influence of this silent architect goes even deeper. It doesn't just rationalize our actions, it constructs our entire perception of reality. You believe you are seeing the world as it is, but you are not. You are seeing a model of the world built by your brain. Take your own eyes. At the back of each retina is a blind spot where the optic nerve connects. It's a significant hole in your vision. So why don't you see two black holes in the world right now? Because your brain, the master storyteller, fills in the gap. It guesses what should be there based on the surrounding information and seamlessly papers over the hole. You never even know it's happening. This construction of reality extends to our most cherished possession, our memories. We think of memory as a video camera, accurately recording events for later playback. This is fundamentally wrong. Memory is a creative act of reconstruction. Every time you recall a memory, your brain rebuilds it, often with new details, influenced by your current mood, beliefs, and even by suggestion. The work of cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus is staggering in this regard. In her famous Lost in the Mall experiment, she demonstrated that she could implant entirely false yet richly detailed memories into people's minds. By repeatedly suggesting a fictional event, that as a child they were briefly lost in a shopping mall, a significant percentage of subjects came to remember the event, even adding their own vivid details. This is terrifying. If our perception of the outside world is a clever fabrication and our memories of the past are editable fictions, then what is the self built upon? Our identity is the sum total of our memories and experiences. But if the architect can change the blueprints at will, how stable is the building? The you of today is based on a story of yesterday that may not even be entirely true. A story written, edited, and produced by a director you've never met. Part 5. The Interpreter. We've seen the evidence. The subconscious brain acts before we are aware. It rationalizes its own behavior. It builds our reality and edits our memories. We now have to ask the most important question: why? Why go to all this trouble? Why create this elaborate illusion of a conscious, controlling self? The answer, proposed by the same Michael Gazzaniga who studied the split-brain patients, is one of the most beautiful ideas in all of neuroscience. He posits that in the left hemisphere of the human brain, a specific network exists that he calls the interpreter. The interpreter's job is not to make decisions. Its job is to create a coherent narrative, a story that makes sense of all the chaotic, automatic, and often contradictory inputs the brain receives. It's an evolutionary adaptation. An animal that can understand the why behind events, why a predator is near, why a food source is available, is more likely to survive. Our brain evolved to find patterns and causes, even when they aren't there. The interpreter takes the raw data, my heart is racing, my hand just reached for that cookie, my mouth just said that, and instantly weaves it into a story with a protagonist, I am nervous. I wanted a cookie. I meant to say that. This is the origin of the you know. The conscious self is not the doer. It is the story that is told about the doing. It's the brain's own PR department. Think back to the split-brain patient. The right brain's action of pointing to the shovel was just a piece of data. The interpreter in the left brain received this data and did its job. It had to explain it within a coherent story. Its only other piece of information was the chicken claw, so it connected them. I need the shovel for the chicken shed. It created meaning. It created a reason. It created a moment in the life story of a unified self, even though that self was literally divided. This process is happening in your head right now. Billions of subconscious processes are firing, and your interpreter is working overtime to weave them into the simple, linear story of you listening to a documentary. It is the grand illusion. You are not the puppet master. You are the puppet who has been given the incredible gift of believing it is the master. Part 6. The final payoff. So, who's in control? We began with this unsettling question, and the journey has taken us deep into the machinery of the mind. We've seen that a vast, ancient, and automatic system runs the show, with a conscious you that seems to be little more than a storyteller, a rationalizing spectator. But the conclusion here is not that we are helpless meat robots. To say we have no free will is too simple. The truth is more nuanced and far more interesting. The relationship between our conscious self and our subconscious machinery is not a dictatorship, it's a partnership. A very unequal one, but a partnership nonetheless. Think of it this way. The subconscious brain is like a massive government with thousands of departments. It proposes legislation, constantly sending impulses, emotions, and urges up to the executive branch. The conscious mind, the interpreter, is the president. It doesn't write most of the laws, but it sees them come across its desk. And crucially, it holds the power of veto. Neuroscience has shown that while we may not have free will, we have something you might call free won't. That readiness potential that Benjamin Libet discovered can be consciously intercepted and stopped. You can feel the urge to eat another piece of cake, an urge generated deep in your subconscious, and you can consciously say no. You can feel an impulse of anger and choose not to act on it. This is our true power. It's not in initiating every action from scratch, but in curating and selecting from the endless possibilities our brilliant subconscious provides. We are not the CEO, but we are also not just the press secretary. We are the final editor. Understanding this doesn't diminish us. It liberates us. It allows us to have more compassion for ourselves and others. When you understand that urges and thoughts can arise unbidden from the depths of your mind, you can learn to observe them without identifying with them. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of your thoughts. The you that you think you are, the coherent, rational decision-making self, is a beautiful and necessary story. It's the masterpiece created by your brain's interpreter to help you navigate the world. It may be an illusion, but it's the most important illusion we have. The secret is to know that you are both the story and the one who gets to read it. And sometimes, if you're paying close enough attention, you even get to edit the next chapter. What was the most mind-bending revelation for you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
The world is full of fascinating paradoxes, isn't it? We hope today's facts truly bent your mind. If you're ready for more daily revelations that challenge the norm, subscribe to Mindbenders. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, keep questioning.